My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks. And
my
this
name is
guy,
James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James. Welcome to Lighting the Way, Beth Green, Granny Raps and Rocks.
so we are doing something entirely different tonight with our live streaming, and we hope that it is working, and it seems to be.
It is.
Look at that, we're on Facebook, and hopefully we're also on YouTube. So we are live streaming on both. We have completely new equipment, and today I am going to be talking about, is it the best of all worlds, or is it the worst of all worlds? Or look at it the other way.
The best of all times.
The best of all times. Is it? Is it the best?
Hopefully we're all in this world.
That's right. Is it the best of all times or the worst of all times? And how do you know? And what does that mean? And why does it matter? And all that good stuff that you know you're going to get on Lighting the Way, Granny Raps and Rocks.
And there seems to be an indication in the title of we get to decide which it is.
We do get to, how to decide whether we're in the best of all times or the worst of all times. So, okay, here it is. Every day I read the news. I probably shouldn't. It looks like we already have a comment.
Yes, Catalina says good evening and sends a heart of love and a couple of bulging eyeballs.
It's working.
She's seeing it.
It is working. Well, this is an example, and I'm going to get into a lot of different kinds of things, but I'm just going to start with the world. So if you look at the news, you may be, well, that's the way I feel.
Sounds like the worst of all times.
It does.
Worst of times.
Well, it does. And, you know, of course, we know the media loves to make it look like the worst of all time because then you're going to read avariciously.
Voraciously.
Voraciously.
And they have a saying in media, if it bleeds, it leads.
Okay. But there is, in reality, there's a lot of really bad things going on in our world. I mean, for example, global warming. I mean, can we deny anymore that there is climate change? Well, I can't.
And there's a lot of starvation.
And there is a lot of starvation. So anyway, so it's very hard to stay up. You know, I see the forests burning. I see the water is degraded. I see plastic in embryos. I mean, it's just awful. And it's hard not to feel that it's the worst of all times. Then I look at the rest of it, and what do I see? Oh, there's a breakthrough in nuclear fusion, not fusion, fusion, that we're going to have unlimited energy, or they're turning wastewater into fresh water, which is going to solve the problem of the lack of. Now, I don't know why these things aren't actually being done yet, but it's like every day you see incredible stories. Breakthroughs. So I believe that there are a lot of incredible breakthroughs, whether they're actually working or not. So it looks like there's more comments, James.
See,
above. It's
above?
coming in above.
Oh, look at here, they're going up. Okay, Amy says, hi, James and Beth. Yay, hello, Amy, glad to have you with us. And Tracy says hello and sends a big wave and a heart of love. Thank you, Tracy.
Yay! And we are, in fact, with no problem, streaming on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Yay, it's only taken months. Anyway, but I'm going to get into that as another example because it's very, very interesting. So, well, what good does it do if I get desperately upset? And by the way, I see that it is buffering, and I don't know why we're having.
Over on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was buffering on here too. But anyway, that seems to be over.
Stop buffering.
Yes, seems to be over, and we seem to be.
And looky here, we
back.
have another comment. Elizabeth says, hi there, hey there, and gives a heart of love. Thank you.
Hey there, Elizabeth. So we got through this melodrama here with the internet, and we're still on the air. Okay, So it was just like that. All of a sudden, it looked like it wasn't working because it was flashing red and it was buffering and we were losing our connection. So, was I going to focus on that, or was I going to say, well, look, everything else is working. Why shouldn't that work? And I pushed something in and I'm hoping it's going to work. And it is. So, right now, I stayed positive and took care of the issues. Now, one of the problems.
You made it more of the best of times instead
Exactly.
of the worst of times.
Because sometimes when we get so discouraged, we stop trying. Don't we? We say, oh, I can't try. I can't do that. It's not going to work. So I'm going to give you a number of other examples, and I want you to think about this very seriously and deeply because it's important how you feel about things. Because how you feel is going to determine how you behave, how your guts feel. You know, whether you are out there doing something or you're giving up and hiding under the covers. I think I'll give up and hide under the covers. Right.
Sounds like a depressed person.
Okay, good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So last week, you know, as many of you know, we have been working and working and working on getting all this live streaming working, and it has been, I will not say anything less than a nightmare. Every week I have some kind of disaster, and I keep changing equipment, and I keep doing this, and I get tech
But
support.
now you've got a whole new thing.
Well, last week, after spending $1 million, I'm exaggerating because we don't have $1 million to spend. I actually, after putting a tremendous amount into it, I had nothing but problems. One day, I went to test out a whole new system, and I kid you not, every single piece of equipment failed. Every one. And I was just beside myself. I was in the it's the worst of all worlds mode. And it really was awful because I want to keep doing this. I do. I like doing this. People say that it helps, so I'm doing it. So then it occurred to me that there might be, you know, it can't be that every single piece of equipment is failing. So I kind of located what the actual problem was and tried something new. And we have a whole new system, which was kind of working, but isn't 100% working. But I realized, James, that I can't do that without unplugging this. Yeah, and that's probably not a good idea. Okay.
So best we keep it the way it is.
Best we keep it the way it is for now, but it's messing with me. Okay, so when I discovered that there was one problem that was creating all the other problems, I didn't know what, I mean, I tried to fix that one. And
It's working.
is it working?
Yeah.
Okay, it may be going in and out, but it is still working. Don't give up on me. It seems like we're still there. So in the process of doing that, I have found another system which works better. But evidently, it hasn't solved all the problems. But instead of just giving up, I said, okay, what can I do that's going to work better? And in fact, it is working better. So here it looks like we are broadcasting, even though I'm going to go on the assumption that it is and keep going.
Because we're live, it's really
We
working.
We are. Okay. So I could have just given up, but I didn't. And I found a better solution. Now, there we go.
Oh, Roz is here, Rosalind. She says, hi, James and Beth. I can't stay on this evening, but wanted to wish Beth a happy birthday. Beth, today is Beth's birthday. So we're very happy that she's spending this time with one and all, people who care.
59 years old today, and that's another point. I'm 79. I've been chronically ill my whole life. I know it's buffering, Amy, but what can I do? It seems that seems to be on. So
Yeah,
we
it's
we
on
are
Facebook,
we are still,
and now it's back on
and
with
it's
YouTube.
so I don't get it. So according to what I'm seeing, it's gone, but it isn't gone. Um, so we keep. We had a big breakthrough. And I've said this before. I have been sick my entire life, and I mean really sick. And so at this age, I'm thinking, oh my God, right?
Is this going to be the worst of times or the
Is
best
this
of
going to be
times?
the worst of times? I can't believe I'm already this sick, and it's going to get worse. So I am going to change out this thing. I'm going to unplug this
Wait a minute.
if I can. And well, it looks like this fixed it, and and I'm still on the air. I don't
Yeah,
know
we're
if
still on
anybody
the
is
air
with us.
Facebook and
Okay.
YouTube.
Oh my God. So
Hallelujah.
this may have fixed it. Who knows? Okay.
I've been bumped off the air.
So what I'm trying to say is, I'm sorry for all these interruptions. I'm 79. I'm already very ill, and I'm looking forward to a dismal future. Ugh, right? And
so Amy says, "Okay, now, happy birthday!"
all right, thank you. And oh, look, we
Elizabeth
have
says,
more.
We're here, and Blanquita says, "Happy birthday!" with lots of big
Oh, thank
celebrational
you.
energy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank
you so
you. And
And let's see what else.
it's some things are coming on twice.
Amy
And Amy says
okay
it's
now,
okay
happy
now.
birthday.
And Tracy said happy birthday. And Amy said it was still buffering, but now it isn't, right? So whatever. We're back. Okay, so I'm
Back.
trying to tell you something, and I keep getting rudely interrupted by the
So
buffering.
is it really, are you looking at the worst of times at this age, or what?
Well, that is the question, isn't it? So, I've been learning a lot about people who are recovering from other chronic illnesses, which I have. So, let's say I have, 6 or 7 or 8 relatively serious chronic conditions.
Yeah.
But there are people who have recovered from some of those conditions. The major condition, no, they haven't recovered from. So,
That being chronic fatigue.
no, the major condition is my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Oh, that.
So, but anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm learning everything that I can about how these people recovered from those chronic illnesses, which I share with them.
So maybe if they could do it, you could do it.
So I would like to try to recover from those illnesses and maybe apply it, what I'm learning, to the major underlying illness that I have. So I'm not giving up. It's like, wait a minute, because it's the worst of all worlds, because I'm old and I'm sick and I'm not going to get any younger. And the best of all worlds is that there are people who are recovering from chronic illnesses. And, it isn't, when you look in the news, it's not just that they're making discoveries about energy or how to depollute or whatever. It's also that there is all kinds of breakthroughs in medicine. People are learning things.
Yes, and by the way, we're over here on YouTube. And Elizabeth says, we switched to YouTube, and so far, no buffering. And she also says, happy birthday, Beth, and sends a heart of love.
Oh, thank you. The reason it wasn't buffering on YouTube is because we changed the setup right in the middle of the show, plugged it something in somewhere where it couldn't be before. And that is, I think, why it's working. But I'm so glad that you're on YouTube. Thank you, because it makes me feel like it was a good idea to do it on YouTube. Okay, so...
And you had a nice adjustment that you made to switch
so
to a different
far,
outlet there, and now it's working.
so far. So I'm saying, how do you know what is coming around the corner? How do you actually know what is going to be learned? And what is being learned that is helping a lot of people with chronic illnesses is about the brain. The brain as the center of your whole system, you know, which gives messages and tells your body what to do. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if these people can tell the brain to tell them something different, to tell the body to do something different, why can't I? So I'm excited. I'm going forward. I don't know that it's going to work. But I'm only one person anyway.
And you're inspired by the fact that people have been able to be successful in recovering from these things.
From some of these things, right. And I would like to recover from the things they recovered from.
Yeah.
And I want to apply that knowledge to what I am recovering, what nobody has recovered from yet.
So one of the ways that this is the best of times is that there's all kinds of medical breakthroughs helping people to be more well.
Technology breakthroughs.
Technology breakthroughs. With all these conveniences, it's less labor intensive.
That's right. You know, it's a very good question.
Ourselves.
If you had to decide between air conditioning and some other thing that, they chopped down a tree and that really upsets me, well, I don't know if I could live without air conditioning, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. So there are things that we have in our world. There are so many things in our world that I don't like, but there are things in our world that I really appreciate that I couldn't live without because my body doesn't temperature regulate. So do you see what I mean? It's a confusing picture. But if we keep deciding that we're going to focus on what is getting better or what is possible, then we will continue to make progress. Now, what is so interesting about this brain training kind of thing, which they're doing for chronic illnesses, for pain syndromes and so on like that? I'm still waiting for it to work for me, but I believe, I know it works because it's obvious, you know, that there should be a relationship, is that we need to rewire our brains badly. It isn't just about illness, guys.
It's about how we think.
How we think about each other.
Oh, yeah.
How about life. If we think we can rewire the brain to stop feeling pain that's needless, or to stop being fight or flight all the time and stressing out about everything, then why can't we retrain our brains to be generous, to be kind, to feel connected, to make connection the most important thing?
Yeah. Well, we're experiencing it tonight. Look at all the goodwill that people have been sending you on your birthday. That's wonderful. Connection, caring.
You see, all of our misbehavior is based on what I call ego, which is that we're all focused on ourselves and we don't really trust the universe. So we always feel like we have to defend ourselves. And by the way, thank you to everybody who sent me birthday wishes and all the love and all of that you have poured out to me. You see, love and caring is the glue that we need to keep our world together.
Yes.
That we don't have. And why give up? Why should we say, we can't retrain that part of the brain? We can retrain the brain to, like sometimes when people have strokes and part of the brain is damaged and then some other part of the brain steps in and starts,
taking over functions that used to be done by the other side of the brain.
Exactly. Well, if that can be done, and if
we can rewire the brain.
We can rewire the brain to be happy, to be relaxed, to be mutually supportive, because the problem is all the fear that we carry within us. It's all about the survival instinct, and it's so funny. They talk about that for the body. And in my book, Living with Reality, which I wrote a lot of years ago, and it's free on the Healing Arts Network, I talk about that very thing. You know, how we can retrain ourselves, because we have been conditioned to think in a certain way, and we can be reconditioned to think in a different way. So every time you hear about breakthroughs, especially in like neuroplasticity, which is the brain, how the brain can actually learn new things and put in new parts and do all that. Remember, we are not just brains, we are also souls. And we can get past constant fear and distrust of one another. James told me about something very interesting tonight at dinner.
Yes.
He told me that in the basketball all-star games,
In the NBA, the National Basketball Association, in
Tell
the United
'em.
States. Yeah, that normally in those games it's highly competitive, highly aggressive, except when they have the All-Star game. And these are the best players on both leagues, the national and anyway, the two leagues. And what's interesting is that in that particular game, it's not so aggressive. It's not so competitive. The people who are playing on defense while the other team has the ball tend to be very allowing of letting the other people shoot the ball into the basket. And this is fun. It's it's very entertaining. People love to see people scoring, and
they
there's
don't
a lot of
risk
goodwill.
injury. They don't risk injury because
That's
they're
right.
not
They don't risk injuring themselves or the other person.
right. Because the game is not about that. And
That's
you
right.
see, you can have, here are these guys who are conditioned to be incredibly competitive,
Oh yeah.
and yet they can do it. Why can't we? So next week, and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., we are going to do another Lighting the Way, Granny Raps and Rocks, and hopefully we won't have the same problem with the internet that we had this time.
This time we'll replicate exactly what's working now.
Right, but it doesn't mean that it will necessarily work, but
Yes.
we're going to try, right? And we're always trying. We're very trying.
And
people.
this has been the best of times with having you all with us, with sharing your love and your caring, and yeah.
Amy
We're
says,
together.
please speak louder, James.
Oh, how about that?
All righty.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay,
I'll speak up. Listen up.
Harry, speak up. Anyway, every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. We almost made it this time, right?
We
Without
did.
too
Well,
much
we
trouble.
made it 90% of the time.
And every Thursday night, we have Magical Improvs, which is all about music. That's at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And we hope that you join us, because the music is very inspiring and helps to rewire the brain into a different space.
Yes. And by the way, Blanquita sends a very big heart of love. Thank you, Blanquita.
Gracias,
Muchas
Blanquita.
gracias.
Don't forget to like or love the show, or give it a thumb up on YouTube, and subscribe to our channel, or follow our page, or whichever one you're doing.
Well, yeah,
And-
whether it be YouTube or Facebook.
And share this program. I'm sorry for the interruptions, but I hope that you were still able to get something from it despite some of the technical problems.
Yes.
And hopefully next week,
Ta-da.
ta-da, okay?
Okay. Make it the best of times, everybody.
That's
God
right.
bless you.